Welcome everybody to the 2025 Derby City Classic. We are in round 6, and this is the One Pocket Division. I am your host, Scott Frost, and I hope you guys get along well with me this match. I'll do the best I can to give you the information I see. This is the only angle we're working with, but it's the best angle you can really get on a pool table. This is One Pocket. It is a race to 3. The first person to make any 8 balls in their designated pocket will win that rack. 3 foul rule is in effect. 3 consecutive fouls will result in a loss of game. No jump cues allowed. And typically, if you want to go over the break real quick, typically let's just say that Chohan, who won the lag, or the flip, breaks from the left long rail. Well, automatically, customary amongst us players, that the top right pocket would be his. So if I broke from the right, the top left pocket would be mine. All right, he dug real well. A low inside ball, if you'll notice when he breaks those balls, and there's a big reason for that. You see the 3 nearest the right side pocket. This ball could provide some type of an escape up to the top right corner behind the stripe, which I believe is the 13 ball. Could kick 3 rails behind the 13. You could go forward on the 5, but there might be a potential kiss there off the 13 with the 5. Jeffrey DeLuna, don't let him fool ya. He is from the Philippines, but he does know the game. He doesn't miss much either, so that's a pretty bad combination. Can you go through the 7, meaning play the 7 kind of like back towards the pile and just drop down below? I don't think you can see enough of it. Oh. I got lucky there and had that almost right. Get Tony chip the stripe. Big benefit to getting behind the 10 somehow and kicking it over if you can. Yeah, what a shot. This is what T-Rex does. Did it get a rail? I believe so. Yeah, this is getting a little more difficult now. I don't believe there's a gap through the pile to get to the 13 or 5, or 13 or 1, excuse me. Trying to feel like you can kick long rail to the right long rail from up here around the chalk, but boy, it's dangerous. That pocket is huge up there to scratch in. Yeah, everything I see is no bueno. Almost gonna have to get lucky to get behind the 1 somehow, or parallel to it. I think you've got to take a foul from this top rail here, maybe just left of the chalk. Put a tip of inside English on it. It's really all about the ball speed, because you get past the 13, you should be okay. Then again, Chohan, he's going to bank the 3 on you from anywhere behind the 13. You're in big trouble, Jeffrey DeLuna. Yeah, he is in big trouble, if I haven't mentioned that a few times. That's really all he has. He has to kick to the top rail. I think he's completely cut off from the 3 balls by Tony's pocket. That's going to do you no good. You can't come up table with the cue ball. The 3 is unmissable. I mean, you can try and stun off of the 3 up towards the 13 and 1. That's probably more difficult than the kick. That's why I haven't really pushed the shot. There is a 3-hour time limit, and then they go to a couple of little different rules. The ref will let them know. The time that DeLuna is taking is warranted. He is in trouble, if I haven't mentioned that 3 or 4 times now. I'm starting to get a headache. Yeah, I think he's just got to kick left of this chalk down here and really go into the second rail. Obviously, being at the table in DeLuna's defense, he's probably going to find something different than what I'm discussing because he doesn't see the kick. He's not once looked at it. Okay, did he wire the 6 up? If he did, that was absolutely genius, because then it keeps Tony from coming up table. Took a foul. He does 0-1. But Tony, looking at the 6 now, that's pretty ingenious. Great shot there by DeLuna, and not a shot that I called. I felt like just taking a foul in the back of the stack was no good. But when you wire up a ball to your pocket, I tip my hat to you. Both players took a foul. You'll notice that the ball count is 0. Just to kind of speed things up a little bit, they wash it out if they each 0-1. If DeLuna happened to 0-2 and then Chohan was on -1 and then 2, that would also wash out, and so forth. One of the issues here could be that DeLuna just doesn't play a ton of one pocket, so might be really obviously trying to figure out some type of a procedure here. Whereas typically guys that play the game a lot really understand that there's maybe only 1 or 2 shots in this scenario. Can you kick 2 rails down out of this lower left corner? You're coming in towards the 13 and 1 at a little better line than the 1 rail kick, and that's what he's looking at. Oh, I would like the 2 rail kick. I think you come into a bigger line. The 3 is a big ball here. And you're coming in too steep. Tell you what. Wow. I thought he was going to tickle the 13 without any trouble, so that ball might have taken a turn. Yeah, a pretty big turn. To the east.
It was close, yeah. Yeah, it was close.
Did have inside spin on it, so it will kind of send the cue ball that direction to begin with. Tony using the 1 there. He's going to get a few here, I would assume. Seven does play from anywhere up table as well. Is he covered up here? Can he not get to the 10? Yeah, might be looking at something like a 2-10 combination. Or a, yeah, 2-10 combination, I would think. Now he's behind the 6. He was looking at the 8 off of the 4. Yeah, expected Tony to get a few more than 3 here. Very good touch. DeLuna might end up trying to cut the 6. Probably cannot reach it, even with a bridge. And he's taking a look at it, but boy, pretty stretched out. Very tough to edge a ball that thin when you're stretched about 6.5 feet. I actually really like the way he takes his time. I think it's telling us that he's really looking for ways out of these positions and really, just weighing out every option. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, not bad there. He's probably going to get to the table again. That's what he's looking for, is more opportunities at the table. Tony considering coming off the 2 or the 12, maybe looking at the 7. He will press the issue, I promise you that. Okay, going through the 8 here. Yeah, he's going to shoot this ball, I promise you that. And I just touched on the fact that Tony's going to press the issue. There are times when it doesn't work out that maybe he's pressing a little too much. And I'm sure he would agree with me at times, but he's so talented that it's hard to overrule or overrun any decision he makes at the table, because when it's working, he's as good as anybody. Or better. Really just got to smooth this 8 in. You get too quick, and that backswing could end up jarring it up. These are 4.5-inch pockets on a 9-foot diamond with Simonis cloth and airmouth balls. I think he'd like to come out above the 4. Yeah, that needs to carry. Did it get there? I believe it did. And if it did, he might be able to do some pretty good damage here. DeLuna did 0-1. Chohan needs 5. Definitely play the 6 next. Tell you what, the time he's taking is really going to send a message to Chohan. Not that it's going to affect him much, but still going to tell Chohan, hey, this guy's really trying to buckle down on me here. He was in a bad spot, DeLuna. Credit to Chohan for selling the 8 out. But hey, this game could have been over a long time ago if it wasn't for the efforts he's made so far. DeLuna. Elevation here. Well, I think the 5 actually helps him. Probably going to track towards the 1. If you get the 6 down and the 14 above the 9, it also plays if you get around the 1. I'd go ahead and get through this. I wouldn't soft roll this. Okay, and he did. Pretty hard not to land on a ball from there. And there's nothing wrong with just cinching the 1. The 2 is bankable. You don't want to have to elevate here to a point where you take a chance of missing the ball. Yeah, that'll do. But now on the rail, these are positions where really seasoned one pocket player just roll 14 and possibly bank the 2. I can't fault it or argue he shoots with anything he decides, but I feel like leveling out and hitting this with speed, you're kind of putting yourself in a position to miss a ball. Still needs 4. You got to think anywhere down there low, though, he could have banked the 2 and gone into the stripe. But he is a favorite to get out from here. Needs a bounce. He received it. Yes, so maybe a little aggressive on Chohan's part. Knocking the 8 back over off the second rail to start this run from DeLuna. Probably coming into the 2 here. All right. Pretty sick out from where he was. Took his time. Really stayed in line the entire way. Credit to DeLuna taking game number 1. Yeah, that's going to send a message to Tony Chohan, I can promise you. He's got a little heat on him now because he knows DeLuna with the break is going to be a hard nut to crack. Nine-foot diamonds, like I said, 4.5-inch pockets. Day 1 of the event was bank pool. Then 1 pocket, and then the World 9-Ball Tour ranking event, which is the last event of all the 9-ball. Alright, going to the upper right here. Pretty similar result as to what Tony did to DeLuna last game. Tony will figure something out quite a bit quicker. Punching forward on the 14, I believe. Yeah, cue ball really what it's all about there. Made it look easy, but a pretty effective play. Just to get the cue ball down out of any real danger. Yeah, I'm a little surprised, but he's looking at the 13. I feel like maybe trying to catch a piece of the stripe next to it as well for a better cue ball over behind the 5. But boy, if you don't catch a piece of that, can you sell something out? You gotta hit this ball really well to hold the cue ball. All right, let's keep our eye on that ball there. Oh, and it did not get a graze from the 11. And to be fair, that ball rolled what looked to be pretty straight. Cutting the 5. No way. Man, this happens every now and then, and when it does, it's kind of a shocker, right, Tony? At the moment, stunned. How does it get through all of the balls like that? Well, you talk about a big swing. Gonna get another look. Goes through the 3, 15, 7, and just waves goodbye. That isn't fun. I'm a player, or was a player, myself, and brings back yucky feelings for big money many, many times. Tony now owes 1 to add insult to injury. Anytime you make a ball in your pocket and scratch, that ball will come up and you will owe 1. Can he not find a way to the 2? I feel like 15, 7. Oh, the 13 goes. That's really bad news for T-Rex. 3 and the 6 are wide open as well. Just don't want to catch a piece of the 2 here. Very good. Very good. Yeah, he can do a lot of damage here. I would almost be surprised if he doesn't get out. You can open the 15 up with the 11 if necessary in the near future. Just swerving over here behind the 3 and the 6. I don't even think I would mess with the 9. And the 5, I believe it is. I don't know that I would even mess with that. We're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, he can almost get out without touching anything, right? Yeah, I think this is a wise decision. Stay away from the 6. Just because it leads you to open those balls doesn't mean that's the right move right yet. But now, is he forced to come up? Did he get a little too shallow on the stripe to go back to the green 6? I guess what I'm saying is this is steeper than I think, maybe. Pockets will accept the balls with good speed. The minute you start to pick the pace up into the object ball, it will spit it out. I've watched it many, many times so far this event. Boy, he is taking some serious time. I know it's a big match. DeLuna, I believe, has a loss round 5 to a friend of his, Roberto Gomez, 3 games to 1. So he doesn't want to be eliminated in round 6 of the event. I can't blame him. Really is taking a lot of time for a guy that plays 9-ball. One of the faster players. Could it be intentional by any means? I know we're all thinking it, right? So I'm just gonna address the elephant in the room. I think he's just trying to win. Well, the cue ball held pretty true there. Oftentimes, We've seen that ball just track up into the side, kind of dip in to where it'll corner hook him. That did not happen. Does he have an angle to touch the 15, or can he miss it? I think he's better off if he can miss it. Come around for the green 6 now. The 1 obviously plays after the 11. Tony Chohan has 0 losses. This would also be painful. Wants to get off the rail. Can't tell if he's below the 6 enough here or not. Does he have to zip it straight back, or can he punch up towards the 2 balls on the spot? He's playing for 3. Zippy doodah. Snatched back for Old Yeller. Now can simply stop, which I think is the right play. That way you don't open up the 2 balls on the spot. Bank the lonesome dove up there. Stripe right there above the 2 balls that are on the spot, which I believe is either the 10. No, it is the 14. Got a little punchy there. Used all of that pocket. Kind of lost the cue ball a little forward as well. Can he just go towards the 4? The best defense is 8 and out. It's also the best offense. You cannot compete with it in a tournament. Yeah, he got into the cue ball a little more than expected. Came past the 4. Tony gonna have a glimpse to his pocket. He's got his work cut out for him. He needs 9. So that's every ball on the table plus 1. Now what? You come towards the 10, you can really trap yourself if you're trying to get underneath it. It's dangerous. He's aware of that. But he needs everything, so I feel like this might be a touch scary. Yeah. Was he not even trying to get on the 10 and just miss the 8? His next plan was to rip the 14 DeLuna's pocket. Can't imagine he'd have hit that ball that bad. Maybe just scared of the lower right corner. Still feel like the 15, 7, 14 combination might throw a little bit from the left side of the 15, but hard to tell how close those 2 balls are together. You could always bank the 10. It would be hard to miss that. Oh, and it did throw. So the triple combination gets DeLuna another win at game 2-0. Chohan, well, he needs a doctor. It's going to have to put down a good break here. A race to 3. You're never out of it. Just gives you an idea, though, these Filipinos. I mean, they're just great at everything they do, right? You don't hear DeLuna playing a lot of 1 pocket, but on forgiving pockets, or bigger pockets, I should say, you're really hard-pressed to expose all their weaknesses if you're a guy like Tony Chohan. If they get a look at something, well, it's most likely going to be trouble, because they run the balls as good as anybody on the planet. He's got to look at the 7. No, he can go forward on that. He's considering the stripe nearest the 6, but geez. Chohan got a kiss, I believe, off the corner ball. That's how the cue balls ended up here. Great player I haven't seen in a long time right there at the left of our screen. Devin Poteet. Boy, for a long time there, he was a tough cookie. I believe he got married and had a kid. Definitely had the potential to be a Moscone Cup member, I think, if he'd kept doing it, but life happens. Family is always more important. DeLuna. Well, evaluating. Speaking of Roberto Gomez, they're back to back. No, you go. No, you go. I'll go. Well, Gomez is going to force DeLuna into shooting the stripe. It's actually kind of funny because he never really went back and looked at the 7, which is where he was headed when Gomez cut him off. Wow, Gomez. Maybe it's in the water. Huh? He's taking a little while himself. Or maybe I just need to slow down. Maybe I'm the one that's playing a little too fast. That's probably the real truth. Yeah, so you can see the 7 by the cue ball. It tells me the 7 doesn't pass and it's not good to the combination. And nice play by T-Rex there, going underneath the ball with the bank. It's kind of crazy how big pocket becomes when you play it like this. Stayed fairly solid there. Right down the pipe. Playing for 6. Could play the 5-13. Could play the 2-4. Get a better cue ball, I think. Okay, now going to it. Big shot here, if he can get it down. Nicely done. Stayed very still. Very good at this. Big guy here. Get over the ball well. Just doesn't want to catch the 2. Playing for 3. Can you get back over for blue 2? Next. It's to carry. And that's going to be almost ideal. Just going to draw out 2 rails here. And a quick one for T-Rex. You're never out of it. Trailing 2 games to 0. Needing 1 in game number 3. What happened there? Tony knows what he needs. Did DeLuna ask him how many he needed when he was down on the ball? Then Tony said 1. Okay. 2 games to 1. Chohan trailing. He's got to dodge the bullet that's racking the balls. If you get past DeLuna's break, well, you become a favorite. Breaking on the hill would be Chohan. DeLuna has other plans. I believe he would be thrilled to lay down another break like he did. Game number 1 of his break. Going to a high ball again, but watch the Q-tip here. See how he kind of comes down on it? Well, didn't get any cover. I think he caught the head ball way too thin there, to be honest. Tony, with an array of options, can kick behind the 9 with a little pace. If you catch the 9 going in, it's going to go up towards the bottom of that little pile there. Oh, can he bank 10? $14, and it's in. Wow. All right. Just going to stun out for the 11. If he can get on the 7 here next to where he's kind of full on it, meaning going towards the 13 with a heavy ball, right, to where you're really spreading them out. Yeah, I'd like to get a little fuller on the 7. Doesn't want to be extremely thin because that limits your options on the next ball, which would be the 8. Yeah, he's aware of this. Very good. Now he's full on it. He's certainly going to have the 8, but he can wiggle something else open. Going off the top, the 8 and into the 13 heavy. I thought he was going to punch that ball with a little bit of outside and really go through him. Instead, he followed it. It's not the end of the world. The top ball does go, which is the 10. Watch the right side. Okay. No broken bones. Playing for 3. Does he come around to the 15 or try to? Could just play for the bank and roll forward. He's looking for a way out completely, though. That's kind of why he slapped the chalk. Knows he's never out of the woods with that straight shooter sitting over there in the chair. Yeah, so he tried to get on the 15 versus just taking the bank and ended up with the bank. He said, I'm not going for that. He's ripping the 3. Well, I'll tell you what, the way these balls lay, you better be careful. This guy will shoot at a white flag. Did good with the cue ball. It's kind of one of those situations. If he decides to bank at the 13, it's an extreme bat cut. If he happens to get it down, you can't do much but shake his hand. The last thing DeLuna wants to do, though, is push something away from his pocket. Doing something with the 9. At worst, Tony can go through the 13 if something's laying awkward. Very good with the cue ball there to really edge him off the back of the 15, right? Kind of notice how DeLuna looking down here to the lower right away, because he doesn't want to have to shoot the 5 or 6 away. Because now Tony's got to guard against a bare ball, which is just the 15. If that's the case, maybe trying to force the issue here coming off the 1, but what does it really do you if you get over here by the chalk below the left side pocket, or even lower? I guess it's good if you get him on the center diamond here on the lower left long rail. But you still feel like Tony can get out of that. I guess my point is it's really tough to get him over here on this left long rail, to where it's covering up the 15. Notice where his hand is now. He'd love to be there, but just seems like a tall order. Yeah, I don't want to risk bringing him down here somewhere around this corner and letting him cut the 2 in on me. He's really, really searching. Does not want to have to move the 15, and I probably wouldn't. I might shoot through the 6 and try and get him below the chalk on the left side here. I think he can definitely do that. It might actually move the 2 as well, meaning the 6. And just follow through. Yeah, if you could go through the 6 and get over here. Taking quite a bit of time. But it seems to have worked for him so far. Gonna take another gander at the table. I do not think this lower left corner is as powerful as just below the left lower long rail center diamond. Yeah, if you can get below that center diamond here on the left long rail down here, I think you're okay, but coming off the 1 is where it's dangerous. You could catch a double kiss, come too far with the cue ball, come too short. And I don't think that's going to get there, is it? No, that's not going to get there. Just really tough to execute that all along. I understand why he was trying to do it, but is Tony overlooking the 2? Okay, he must have a straight look at the 15. Doesn't even want to take a chance. Boy, I feel like he's passing one up here, though. I can't fault him with a 6-0 lead. But boy, these balls are wide open. If DeLuna decides to knock one down, yeah, man, he's going to take a look at the 3. Can he twist it back? I feel like Tony dead overlooked the 2 there. He is supposed to shoot. He needs 2. DeLuna can't win the game if you've got one hanging. I guess he could with the 4 where it's at, but still tough. Oh, I just felt like he was going to knock that in. What do I know? I'm never really against protecting your ball lead, but the one time he chose not to, I felt like, excuse me, the moment he chose not to shoot at his hole, I felt like that was one of those times he maybe should have. At this point, you've pretty much committed to an up-table game. Oh boy, really forced that. So Chohan making the right decision. You can't fault him for taking the 15 out. It's going to win him the game. And just like that, Tony Chohan, a 2-0 deficit, now a favorite to win the match. Did he not get there? Wow. Didn't expect it. He might. Yeah, I don't think he's going to. If he passes that last one up. All right, he's going to take a whack at the 6. He's a favorite. He's close to it. Well done, T-Rex. 2 games apiece. 1 game for all of it. We could have saved all this pain and agony if we'd have just known. It's been a great match, to be honest with you. DeLuna seemed to be in pretty good trouble first couple of games. Really found big ways out of it for the most part. Needs to lay down a good break here, T-Rex. If you'll remember, he did get a pretty fortunate kiss off his last break. Caught those a lot cleaner. Not extremely effective, that's for certain. Well, right away, I think you could bank the stripe just below the 3. Over to your side, towards the left side, and lay down behind the 5 at stripe. There's probably something better. You could bank the 7 up and just trickle behind the 5 and stripe. Notice, didn't take as much time there. Well, he hasn't pulled the trigger yet. Everything is tough. It seems to be the case once things, or the momentum kind of switches directions. The pool balls always seem to know who's got the momentum. Yeah, all right, just want to make sure you get the 7 up. You don't want Chohan to be able to see it. Well, you didn't get it up at all. Did he cover him on the 5? I believe so. Can he get to the stack? Sure felt like he underhit that ball, but it turned out pretty good. Going to the pile here, that needs to take. Oh boy. Did he allow him to see this stripe by Tony's pocket? If so, he can 2-rail it towards his side and go into the stack. Hard for me to tell. That answers our question. Tony really wants to kick at the pile. The problem is the 11 is kind of like a lone ball out there, right? If you go off the top of the 11, you're probably going to sell out the 7 because it's going to clip off the 2. If you go off the bottom, you could lose your position. Go right in the middle, though. It's worth the foul. No rail. Now the biggest problem right now for DeLuna is the 8. There's no question about that. Because he can't really come low without... Well, I guess he's probably got to take a foul if he wants to come low below the 8. Because it is bankable. Tony banked that ball from just about anywhere down there. Yeah, you better be careful here. Excellent cue ball. Excellent cue ball. That'll slow Tony down a little bit. Can he chip off the bottom of the 8, come towards the 11? You just don't want to come past the 11. Oh boy. Did he get enough? Wow. Really got into the cue ball there. It looked like he was flinching and maybe he didn't like the way he hit it. I think he landed absolutely perfect on the 11. Yeah. Notice DeLuna not even entertaining a foul right yet, trying to consider coming off the 7. There's no value there. You're going to move the 7, even if you get safe. That's the only ball that's kind of working for you. Yeah, he caught it thin. Can't really knock that too much. Thought he might really knock the 7 away from his side. Did well there. What he had, I can tell you that. Is he twisting this back? Sure is when you're close to the ball. These great players, they're going to smell something real quick. The combination, stripe is a big ball. Wow. Yeah. Used every part of that. Going to the 1. Does the 2 pass? We know the 3 plays. Getting that stroke geared up. T-Rex. Yeah. I think he wanted to be a little flatter on this 3, but going the right direction. He's just got to knock it down. This is the shot. Overall, I got to say, both of these guys have played really, really well. All right, we got action. Going away from the 7. He's going to try and get him up into the balls here. Yes, he is. Notice what he's done with the 7 as well. Now you've got to protect against that. Chohan playing for 3. 1 comes up. Excuse me, Tony has 3 and comes up. Playing for 5. You know, once again, we've talked about it, the foul shot. I'd consider just taking a foul to the bottom rail there, somewhere around that center diamond. At least force Tony to come off the stack that way, or take a foul behind you. That's the way to go. He was walking around to the right direction. Not saying this is the wrong shot, but it's always an option to take the foul. It's something that I think guys that don't play the game as much overlook. Yeah, he's going to give up the 7. So hopefully you guys understand what I'm talking about there. It's really kind of worth it. Your hill, right? Your opponent only has 3. To ensure that you're not leaving a shot, just take a foul. You're going to realize that you're forcing your opponent to do something after that move. The game continues. Owing 1 ball is really minuscule in the grand scheme of things. And Tony still might try to protect his lead by not playing the 7. Yeah, really good. Keeping DeLuna completely off the shot. He just doesn't want to come down to that bottom rail. There he's looking with his finger, I think. But I don't know that you want to be there either. I'd like to get to the center diamond. Might not even be entertaining it at all. The foul has never come through his mind yet, really, in this match. I might have taken 1. But here's the problem, watch this. And now you're going to give up the 11. Not that he'll play it, because he might even have something better off the pile. And he might just stay passive altogether, but do you really want to let Tony see this side of the stack? And that's kind of the problem. Get him on that center diamond up there. Well, you cut him off from everything. Great touch to hold that 9 on your side of the table. Really good touch there. Looking at the 11, but he's completely jacked up over the 1. All right, is he telling himself it's now or never? I don't think the 3 and 7 really help you. If you hit this bad, they can only hurt you. You know, if you're in DeLuna's spot, I guess he kind of feels like he's already really losing the game, but a 3-0 ball lead when your opponent broke the balls and it's hill, you are still very much in this game. You do not have to force the issue like it's the only shot you're ever going to get again. If it's not there, don't take it. But once again, going to expose the left side of the table instead of taking a foul to the center diamond or somewhere up there. I don't hate it, to be honest with you. He hit it well. Didn't think he could get into that stripe as good as he did. Tony got to look at the 7. Does he have to take it on? And Josh O'Neill on the right side of our screen. Great player from Nashville, Tennessee. Ooh, really turned that ball. I'll tell you. If you've been waiting for a look, I think this is it. I don't think he's a dog to cut the 7 to his pocket. I really don't. I think he's a slight favorite. And it carries a really bright future, in my opinion. At minimum, you're tracking 2 rails around the red towards the 2 and the 10. I think you get some type of a look if you knock this down. Is it steeper than I think due to the camera angle? If he's entertaining the bank versus the cut, then it must be steeper than I think. Wow, I'm really a little surprised he's passing this 7 up. Yeah, look here, carried really natural position. Wow, hit it too good. Or got into it maybe a bit too much, but hard to really roll that ball any slower. Great shot by DeLuna. Problem is he's actually ended up pretty awkward here. Really awkward, to be fair. Now thinking if he has to level out and knock this down, might be all he gets. But if he has to elevate, he could lose the game. That's really the problem. I don't think the right side pocket's an issue here. He can level out and just come across the top of the 1 and 3, this side of him. Really, that's all he's going to get. It's hard to believe he landed in this spot. Thought he was going to finish pretty well perfect on the 10. Is he looking to come off the stripe down here in the center and just lay him up in the top corner? Yeah. Can't say I blame him. 10 wasn't a lot of fun. Tony also feeling pretty fortunate about that little situation there. Great hit, great cue ball. Boy, look at these balls lined up on Tony's side. Almost looks like a drill of some sort. I think you've just got to shoot straight into the 14 and elevate. Try and get back to the rail. That's important. Did as good as he could do. No way Tony will entertain the 9, I don't believe. 4 or 5 years ago he might have, but... Two just kept on going. I didn't think it was going to get close, but a few more rotations and DeLuna might have considered. All right, is this where you press the issue and try and protect the 2? Better be careful here. Oh, wow. Oh, double wow. 15 got just in front of the 2 in case that was bankable. You can forget it. I don't believe. Yeah, take another look. This kisses the 9? Yeah, it kisses the 9 and catches the 15 full in the face. Otherwise, a real good chance Tony gets a look at something. Ball could have come down in front of the cue ball. Anything could happen there. Once again, he's only 2 balls down, DeLuna. No reason to really force the issue. This is the last game you're going to play in this match, so make the most of it. Now I can't fault him for going forward on the 3. Just shoot the 3 towards the back of the 9 off rail, or rail first with the 3, if you have to. Things starting to definitely change positions. Went from everything on Tony's side to over half the balls on Jeffrey's. Yeah, never a comfortable shot to shoot. You always get a feeling cue ball's gonna grab and just go straight up into the corner there. He did well. Did really well. Got him completely covered up from the right side of the table. There's really nowhere to go down here either. Last thing he wants to do is shoot the 2 or the 15 away. So this could take a moment. I don't know what he's looking at from down here. It's not a time to force the issue. I know I've said this before. I think you've got to just do the best you can with the cue ball. Knock the 15 away. Or the 2. Just get him there on that back rail. Because all of those balls will play in Chohan's pocket as well. Yeah, what's he gonna find? I don't think he can find anything with value Does he think he can go forward on the 15? Just don't feel like that's the case. I don't like it. I don't know what he's doing, but I don't like it. And there you have a reason why, without the kiss on the 14 back to the cue ball, he was going to sell something out. But the stripe drops in the lower right corner, and now Chohan has a real opportunity to seal the deal. DeLuna, if he ever gets a chance to look back at this, and this shot so happens to cost him the match, I'm sure he'd like to have it over. Man, you couldn't have done any better there. Maybe get off the rail a little bit. That might have helped things, but playing for 4, he can come up to the 4 if he'd like. Just gonna come to the 2. Boy, is that weak. Yeah. Maybe feeling the heat a little bit himself. Playing for 3, can you drop down to the 9 here? Or do you have to kind of let this go with some speed? I think that's what he's weighing up now. Yeah, very good. Very good. Played this to the short edge below the 9 and stayed very well off the rail. Makes a huge difference in how you cue this ball. See, punching over behind the 1 and the 4. It lays good. Sure is. Tony Chohan trailing 2 games to 0 at one point. Was never really out of it. But DeLuna is. And after a 2-0 lead, he really had a couple of good opportunities there, but that's the beauty of the game. He's frustrated. He gave it his very all. Hopefully he figures something out, learns a little something from this decision. I know he's trying this ball, I believe. Yeah, really low percentage, pretty dangerous. To Tony Chohan. Will out any losses. Talk to you soon.